Man, let me tell you the history of how Vince McMahon feels about fat wrestlers. Like, I said that I was proud of how, what's his name, Gunther, he transformed his body once he found out he was being called up to the main roster. He obviously he did his homework on Vince McMahon. People know Vince McMahon does not like fat wrestlers. If you are a fat wrestler, guess what? You ain't gonna get pushed. And Gunther knew that. So he got himself ripped, which was smart. He didn't want to end up like Keith Lee. Plain and simple. It's like, look, people wanted to kind of counter me like a fucking smartass, right? By saying, oh my god, this is so cringe. I hate when people say, oh, so-and-so says hi, or this person says hi, or Dusty Rhodes says hi, or Umaga says hi. Okay, you dumb idiot. Let me tell you how Vince McMahon books fat guys. If you are a fat wrestler and you wrestle shirtless, the only time Vince allows that is when you have a gimmick that allows you to be a fat guy. For example, Yokozuna. Look, I used to watch a lot of sumo wrestling when I was a kid. That name, that is a sumo wrestler name, Yokozuna. Hence why his gimmick was a sumo wrestler. He was based on a sumo wrestler from fucking Japan. He was a fat guy in a thong. That's sumo wrestling. He was a fat guy posing as a sumo wrestler, so which means it fit the gimmick for him to be fat. Okay, I have no problem with that. But didn't you notice that his push didn't last long? Once Yoko couldn't keep his weight down, eventually he got moved to the mid-card and he got paired up with Owen Hart as a tag team. Remember that? Remember how fast his push ended? Haven't you noticed? Have you ever seen a fat wrestler become a multiple-time world champion? At least 10 times, 8 times, 9 times. Like Orton, Triple H, Edge, Jericho, Stone Cold, The Rock, etc. Brock. Have you ever heard of a fat wrestler in a WWE becoming a 10-time world champion or over? No. Now, let's talk about Rikishi. Once again, his gimmick was a sumo wrestler. He was based on a sumo wrestler. Didn't you see his wardrobe? They told him to wear that to insinuate that he was a sumo wrestler. Look up the name Rikishi. That is a sumo wrestler name, literally. Hence why he was based on a sumo wrestler, which means he is allowed to be fat. Because sumo, look, when it comes to being a sumo wrestler, you are supposed to be fat. I've never seen a guy who does sumo who was built like Brock Lesnar. Do you see where I'm going with this now? Look at Kevin Owens. He's pushed because his body is covered up. You see, Vince doesn't want your fatness to take over your whole character in terms of your fatness is very distracting when it comes to your character. That has nothing to do with you being a fat guy. Kevin Owens, he's a fighter. He's a brawler. He wears a shirt and shorts. So we can't really see his body like that. We can't really see how fat he really is. His body is covered up, right? Those are the guys that Vince pushes in the main event scene. Only the fat guys where you can't really see what their body looks like because they're covered up. Ask Mick Foley. Mankind was in a bodysuit. He was always in sweats and a shirt. His body was always covered up. So Vince didn't have a problem with giving him a push. His mindset is, either wear a shirt or a singlet or lose some weight. Because I'm not going to push you and you are shirtless and you are fat. No, I'm not going to push you. And look, all the fat guys who are shirtless, all the fat guys who don't wear a shirt that he does push, he don't give them long-term pushes. Ask Umaga. That was not a long-term push. That push was very temporary, wasn't it? But when it comes to him, once again, his gimmick fit him being a fat guy. His gimmick fit him being a large man. He was based on a Samoan warrior from the islands. So his gimmick was, it fit him being that large. Him wearing the face paint, the body paint, all that shit, tattoos, that fit that character that he was playing. So him being fat, that was cool, that was allowed. But if you look at who he was before that with Jamal and Rosie, didn't you notice they was in shirt and shorts? They were in freaking street clothes, covered up. See what I'm saying? They were covered up. That's what I mean. Their gimmick wasn't meant for them to not wear a shirt. Hence why Vince McMahon put them in fucking street clothes to cover up their bodies. Same thing with the damn Nasty Boys. The Nasty Boys, they were in shirts, right? They were covered up. They were fat guys who were covered up. That's what Vince does. If your gimmick doesn't match you being a fat guy, then you should wear a shirt. That's his mindset. Either lose weight or wear a singlet and a shirt. I'm not gonna push you if you are not doing either of those things. See, Kevin Owens, he's pretty much set because his wardrobe covers up his whole body. There's a reason why Joe is gone. There's a reason why Vince McMahon was never a fan of Samoa Joe. There's a reason why he only won one championship on the main roster. Let that sink in for a second. If Joe was so good in Vince's size, how come he only won one title on the main roster? But Kevin Owens is a multiple-time champion on the main roster, even though he's fat as well. But guess what? His body is covered up, so his fat is pretty much hidden, unless you look closely. But his fat is hidden, like Mick Foley. Mick Foley was covered up, just like Kevin Owens. Same thing with Terry Funk. Now look, Terry Funk, he wasn't like fat, but he was like kind of chubby, kind of. When he was Chainsaw Charlie, didn't you notice he was covered up? He was in a bodysuit. You see what I'm saying? That's what I mean. Vince, his mentality is, I'm not gonna let you wrestle on TV wearing no shirt and you were kind of fat and you expect me to give you some kind of push. It's not gonna happen. Either lose weight or wear a bodysuit or a singlet or a shirt. That's his mindset. Look at, remember, dude, you remember the Blue Meanie? Once again, he was a fat guy. Vince put him in a shirt. See what I'm saying? You look at Joe, right? Look, Joe wasn't pushed because he was fat. I'm sorry, he was fat. Yeah, Joe was talented, but he was fat though. We're talking about WWE standards. I don't care about AW, Impact, ROH. We're talking about what Vince looks for in a WWE in a superstar. Joe didn't fit that criteria. Are you kidding me? He did not. It's like, bro, like, okay, if Joe wore a singlet, I think he would still be there. If Joe wore a shirt or a singlet, he would still be in a WWE. Most likely he would be a world champion, probably. He would have been a multiple-time world champion on the main roster if he would have put on a singlet or lost some weight. Because look at Kevin Owens. Look, Kevin Owens, he's not that much better than Joe, right? He's not that much better than Samoa Joe, but for some reason Vince liked him more than Joe. And I know why. Kevin Owens, he's covered up. But Joe, he likes wrestling without a shirt. Vince don't like that. Vince feels like, bruh, put on a singlet or I'm not going to push you. That's why Joe was a jobber that's why he was a jobber to the stars. Look at Otis. Otis, he's a fat guy, right? And now he wrestles in a singlet. That's by design. Vince made him wear a singlet. Just like Keith Lee. You see where I'm going with this now? You think that was Keith's choice to wear a singlet? Obviously not, because he ain't wearing it now, right? Is Keith Lee wearing a singlet in AEW? No, he is not. So yes, Otis wears a singlet because Vince told him to. And now look, it kind of looks like Otis lost weight, but he didn't really. It just, when you wear a singlet, it makes you look less fat because it covers up your gut. It covers up your chest. It makes people ignore whether or not you are fat or not. It just makes people focus on you as a character. Your body is no longer distracting towards the eyes. That's why Otis is being pushed now. Otis looks pretty damn good in a goddamn singlet. Once again, Vince has no history pushing fat guys who don't wear a shirt. Ask Yokozuna. Look at that. His push did not last long because he couldn't keep his weight down. But his gimmick fit the criteria on why he should be fat. But Yoko actually took advantage of that. He felt like, hey, my gimmick is me as a sumo guy, so hey, I can't be fat. I can't eat anything I want to. But obviously, Vince didn't like that. But dude, there's tons of examples of all the fat guys that Vince put a shirt on. The one-man gang. So many people. The big boss man. He put him in a big ass cop suit. Right? Member of Viscera? Viscera. Mabel. King Mabel. He put him in a suit. He put him in a bodysuit covering up his fat. But Mabel was still pushed though, right? See? He was still pushed. Once again, if you are fat, Vince will push you, but you gotta cover up your body some way, somehow, or lose some weight. And that's what Walter did. That's what Gunther did, which was smart. There was no way in hell a fat Walter would have gotten a push on fucking SmackDown. Hell no. You kidding me? No. It was smart that he got ripped. That was very, 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 very smart. Now, I bet people gonna say, what about Dusty Rhodes? Okay, what about him? Look, we're not talking about the Dusty Rhodes from the NWA, you dumbass. We're talking about the Dusty Rhodes who worked for Vince McMahon Jr., not Senior, Jr. We're talking about the Dusty Rhodes who came to the WWF in the late 80s. We're talking about the Dusty Rhodes Savage and what's his name? Sherry. We're talking about that Dusty. The Dusty who teamed up with a chick named Sapphire. That Dusty. Did you notice Vince McMahon put him in a polka dot singlet? That was Vince's idea. Vince felt like, you know what, Dusty, you can pull this off wearing a polka dot singlet. Now, look, he did pull it off. Dusty made it work, but I'm just using him as an example. Don't use Dusty as an example because I'm going to use his late run with the goddamn WWF when he was put in a singlet, right? Like I said, Vince McMahon does not push fat guys without a shirt or a singlet. If he does, it's going to be very, very temporary, just like Yokozuna. just like Rikishi. His push lasted for like 10 minutes, Rikishi, right? Remember that? I did it for The Rock. That push lasted for 5 minutes. Once the Undertaker threw his ass off the damn cage, his push was done. See what I'm saying? Once again, Vince has no history pushing fat guys like he pushed Triple H, The Rock, Stone Cold, Randy Orton, Cena. He has no history of it. How about Bray Wyatt? Another guy that Vince put in a shirt and jeans. But he was pushed, right? Because, like I said, if you are a fat guy, Vince will push you only if you are covered up. Either wear a singlet or a shirt or a bodysuit. Bray Wyatt was in a shirt and pants. And yeah, he was fat, but we didn't really pay attention to it because he was talented and Bray could talk. He was a great gimmick, great character. We didn't care that he was fat because he had a gimmick, he had a character. That's why Bray was back. That's why Bray Wyatt was pushed. Because his fat was covered up. So we just seen him as a professional wrestler, not as a fat guy trying to be a wrestler. That's what I mean. It's like, look, how can you get mad at Vince McMahon on not liking fat guys? I mean, how can you hate on that? He is a bodybuilder. Still to this day, he outlifts all of you in the gym. So, what is your excuse? What is Joe's excuse? What is Keith Lee's excuse on being fat? If you got a dude in his 70s still hitting the gym harder than you, it's like, look, I see what Vince means. Like, bruh, I'm a bodybuilder. So yes, I'm very hard on fat guys, my damn self. It's like, why should I push you and you ain't in better shape than me? How the hell, why should Vince push you? He is your boss, but he's in way better shape than your ass. Huh? Dude, Vince is in his 70s, and yet he's in better shape than Keith Lee. Let me repeat that. Vince is in his 70s, he's in better shape than Joe and Keith Lee. So why should Vince push them as main eventers if an old man is in better shape than them? You gotta think, man. Put yourself in his shoes. He is a health fitness junkie. So how can you blame him for liking guys who are in shape and not fat guys? It's like, hold on, I'm buff, I'm swole. Why should I push you like I do Orton, Sheamus, Cena, The Rock, Roman, right? It's like, look, even on Roman Reigns, there was a time where Roman was kind of fat, remember? That's why Roman was wearing that vest all these years, because he had what's the name? He had belly. Reigns had a pot belly. That's why he was in a vest all these years. But he was still pushed. Like I said, if you got a fat gut, Vince wants you to cover it up. If not, he's not gonna push you. And that's why Reigns, it took him 8 years to finally take off that vest. And now he's ripped, he's in shape now. That's the only reason why Reigns was in a vest all these years, because he didn't have a body to be shirtless. But he was still pushed. Like I said, either be covered up or get in shape. That is Vince's mentality. Just like, okay, for example, the Big Show. The Big Show, he had weight problems, right? There was a time where Big Show had serious weight issues. Bruh, they took him off TV. They sent him back down to OVW. That's how bad it was. See what I'm saying? To the point where the Big Show, he's not on WWF No Mercy, the game, because they took him off TV because of his weight issues. Because when the Big Show first started out as Paul White, remember, he was actually wrestling without a shirt, but he was getting fatter. So eventually, they told him, look, bro, you gotta either cut weight or put on a goddamn singlet, or we ain't gonna push you. And that's what happened. So, dude, there's like tons of examples that I can give you on all the fat guys that Vince pushed and all the fat guys he did not push. He's not going to push you as a fat guy long term, man. He is not. That's not his style. He will give you a small little push like Umaga, Yoko, Rikishi, then it will stop. He will send you back to the mid card eventually. It will not be consistent. Just like Kevin Owens, his booking is not consistent, is it? See what I'm saying? He really doesn't push fat guys often. So don't say, oh, so-and-so says hi. Bitch, you have no evidence to go against my evidence. I got facts and evidence on all the fat guys Vince did not push based on their size if they were shirtless. Oh yeah, let's talk about Vader, right? Let's talk about Vader. Great example. See, Vince wasn't really a huge fan of Vader, but he still pushed him, but he wasn't really like a huge fan of him. But he still pushed him because he was covered up. He was in a damn singlet. See? He was in a singlet, but still Vince didn't really give him a long-term push. Like I said, Vince does not love fat guys like that. Who else? King Kong Bundy, a fat guy who was put in a singlet, and guess what? Remember, his push didn't last long, did it? See, Vince McMahon will give you a little short-term push as a monster, right? But then he will bring you back down to earth. Once that little novelty act wears off, then he will put you back into the mid-card. That's what he did to King Kong Bundy. That's what he did to Bam Bam Bigelow. Vader. I mean, bruh, Sid replaced Vader. What does that tell you? That was supposed to have been Vader at Survivor Series against Shawn Michaels. That was supposed to have been Vader's spot, but Sid took it because Vader had weight problems. Vince was trying his best to get Vader in shape. He sent Yokozuna and Vader to, I think, fat camps to lose some weight. You see what I'm saying? So don't come at me saying, no, Vince has a history of pushing fat guys. No, he does not. Vince has no history pushing fat wrestlers. If he does, it's short term all the time. It's always short term. Waylon Mercy. He was tall, but he was kind of fat. And he was covered up. See what I'm saying? He was covered up. He don't push fat wrestlers, man. He just don't. If he does, it's just short term. Just to, make you feel good. Just to book a short term monster for the time period. But he will send you back to mid-card eventually, like he did Umaga, Big Show, multiple times. Big Show has been sent to the mid-card multiple times now, man. Just like I said. It's like tons of examples, man. Like Bam Bam Bigelow was put in a bodysuit. That's all I'm saying, man. He was put in a damn bodysuit. That's what I'm talking about. So Vince, you can't show me a year where Vince was pushing a fat wrestler to the damn moon, man. And that push did not last long, bro. So cut the shit out. I don't know any fat wrestlers in WWE history who compare to Randy Orton, Stone Cold, Taker, Kane, Brock Lesnar. Who? Name me a fat wrestler in WWE history who has the resume of a Shawn Michaels, of a Bret Hart. Nobody, bruh. There hasn't been that many fat guy main eventers at WrestleMania 2. Not that many. What, man? What? 4? Who? Big John Studd, maybe. King Kong Bundy, maybe. But even Andre the Giant was put in a damn singlet. Remember that? He was put in a singlet. I bet you forgot about that. Before Andre the Giant went to the WWF, he was not in a singlet. He was in short trunks. He was shirtless. But once he came to the WWF, Vince put his ass in a damn singlet to cover up his fat. That's his facts. So don't get mad at Vince when he gets rid of Keith Lee, Joe, Bray Wyatt, dudes like that. Like, bro, he has no history of pushing fat guys long term if they are not covered up. And look, even if they are covered up, he don't give them long-term pushes. I mean, ask freaking Bray Wyatt. Now, let's get on Bray Wyatt. Dude, you know why Vince pulled the plug on Bray's push? Because when he was a Fiend, did you know that he still had weight problems? He was still packed on the pounds. Vince did not like that. I noticed there was months where Bray got fatter and then Bray lost weight. And then 2 months later, he got fatter. And then 4 months later, he lost weight. His weight was always up and down. That's what pissed Vince McMahon off. This dude couldn't keep his weight down. And the only time Bray gets in shape is when he goes on vacation. Haven't you noticed that? I fucking have. Remember his last match at WrestleMania? He went on a long vacation. And then Bray showed photos of him being all swole and jacked up. It's like, bruh, how come you didn't look like that when you was wrestling, bruh? You see what I'm saying? So don't bring him up because Bray always had weight problems. 1 minute he's in shape, then the next minute he gets back fat again. Do you remember his match against Goldberg? Dude, he went back to being fat again. That's why Goldberg botched that jackhammer, because Bray got fatter again. That's why Goldberg botched that jackhammer against the Fiend. Bray got fatter. I fucking noticed that shit. See, Vince does not like that. He does not like it when you are not consistent with your weight. It's like, bruh, either be covered up or you gotta lose weight. That's why Vince McMahon always loved Mick Foley. His body was always covered up. We never called Mick fat. We never called Mick Foley fat. Never. Like, for example, like Braun Strowman. There was a time where Braun Strowman was kind of fat, but then didn't you notice he got ripped, he got in shape, and then he finally took off the singlet. Remember that? See? Like, there's history of fat guys saying, look, man, I gotta get in shape to protect my spot on the damn card. I'm saying that's what I mean. What's his name? Mark Henry. Mark Henry was put in a singlet. Him as well. Who else was put in a singlet? I think what's his name? The Godfather was put in a singlet. D'Lo Brown was put in a singlet because D'Lo was fat as well. Do you honestly believe Vince was going to allow him to wrestle without a damn shirt? No. Like I said, Vince, his mindset is either put on a singlet or shirt or get in shape. Okay, well, D'Lo decided to put on a singlet, and that's why he was pushed. We didn't notice how fat he was once he put on a singlet, because a singlet covers up a lot of fat. That's smart. Just like what was the name? Just like Earthquake. Like, bruh, nobody called him fat because he wore a goddamn singlet. We didn't notice how big he was. We didn't notice how fat he was because of that damn singlet. And that's why he was pushed. Like I said, Vince does not push fat guys with no shirt on long term. So it's like, bruh, how is that body shaming? Keith Lee. It's like, that shit was weird when people were crying and complaining that Keith Lee was put in a damn singlet. I'm like, what's the problem? So you would rather see his fat belly and his fat boobs just fucking bouncing around on TV? Dude, Keith Lee got fatter now. Dude, his gut got fatter. His gut fucking overlaps his trunks now, even more than before. I'm sorry, it's like, look, when it comes to the WWE, if you are fat, they will cover you up until you get in shape. They are not like AEW where, oh, just be yourself. Be fat. Be out of shape. It's like, how is the WWE the bad guys when they want you in shape? Dude, this is professional wrestling, man. What is your excuse on not being in shape? Look, when you are wrestling, you have to live in a gym because wrestling boils down to who is in the best shape, who has the. So how can you be fat? I don't get it. So it's like, dude, how can you get mad at Vince for always making sure if you are a fat guy, he wants you in shape or he wants your body covered up? Ask Goldust. Come on, man. Goldust was fat, but we didn't notice because Vince put his ass in a long ass bodysuit to cover up his lack of physique, which was smart. Do you honestly believe that Goldust would have gotten over if he was fucking shirtless? Are you sick? Dude, still to this day, Dustin Rhodes does not wrestle without a shirt. Still to this day. Because, I mean, look, so obviously Vince McMahon knew what he was doing by putting him in a damn bodysuit, because when he was in WCW, Dustin was wearing no fucking shirt. But once he got to the WWF, no, man, Vince put his ass in a goddamn bodysuit to cover up his fat so the fans won't notice. Because, man, some fans don't take well to fat guys who are not in shape. Just some don't. It's like, you're going to have a hard time being a main eventer on a consistent basis, not temporary, or a consistent basis being a main eventer as a fat guy. Especially when you don't wear a fucking shirt or a singlet. He has so much history of not pushing fat wrestlers. It's like, how come you don't get it? It's like, dude, I have no problem with that. But I'm just saying, like, those are Vince's rules. If you are a fat wrestler and you wear no shirt, you better have a gimmick that allows you to be that fat. If not, you will be booked as a jobber. Ask fucking Samoa Joe. If you put on a shirt, okay, he will treat you respectably like Kevin Owens. That's all I'm saying, man. So I'm saying, don't get mad at Vince for not liking fat guys and setting rules on fat guys. If you got a big fat belly gut, Vince will put you in a singlet. Ask Omos. He is in a damn shirt, right? That is a prime example. If you have no definition, your ass got a fat gut, bruh, Vince will put you in a shirt or a damn singlet. Or not, he will book you as a jobber. That's all I'm saying. I'm done.